Hi guys, welcome to Life with Gaz. This week we're going to do a catch it, cook it, eat it, and we're going to make some breaded plaice. Now first of all we'll talk about how we catch the things, because plaice, although they're not difficult to catch, definitely have rigs which seem to suit them when I'm fishing for them. Now I tend to catch these fish from around about sort of May, sometimes into April, all the way through right out to the end of November in the area that I fish. But whenever I'm fishing for them, I always try and make sure I'm using a flapper rig, and the hook length which I have on there tends to have a sequence of beads consisting of green and blacks with the odd red one thrown in there as well. Now plaice like a bit of movement, so sometimes a sequin or two or even a little plastic spinner blade doesn't go amiss. Now when it comes to bait for these guys, I like to use lugworm usually, it's because it's readily available in the area I'm fishing, tipped with a little bit of squid, or sometimes even a little bit of shellfish for a bit of razor, a little bit of mussel or a bit of clam occasionally tends to do the business. Now what we're going to do is skip back to a bit of footage we had from a plaice which I caught a few weeks ago, and then we'll show you guys how to fillet and how to cook it. Although plaice more often than not tend to give me a nice strong and definite bite, this plaice didn't. He just sat there and ate the razor which I had attached to this hook. So first things first, nice sharp knife. Now I don't use a fillet knife, I use one of these because I just get on with them better. And fillet in a plaice, just like any flat fish, what I like to do is first take a cut into the top just here, and then follow that line all the way down the back. Now when you follow that line down the back, and this is where having a sharp knife helps, there we go, you get a nice clean fillet from that side. Now there's 4 fillets you can take off a plaice, and 2 of them come off nicely, which are these 2, which are the best 2 in my opinion, and then the other 2 I've got the guts and the body cavity just in there. Now with a plaice, like any flat fish, just need to be gentle and delicate. Take your time with it, and as you take your time, what you do is you're just basically separating that meat away from the ribs. Unfortunately, in a plaice like any flat fish, these guys tend to have ribs which are jointed in the middle. So you can see there's a joint there, and your knife blade tends to catch on them, and that's about the only place you can go wrong when filleting a plaice, because you can end up cutting straight through that. And then once that's done, just going to take off the fillet just from the just relieving that from the side just there all the way down. Now normally I'd sharpen my knives, but my wife's tidied up my knife sharpener and I can't find it anywhere today, so just going to have to make do. And there's the first fillet just there. I'm going to continue now and take off this top fillet, and then flip the fish over and take off the bottom fillets as well. Now when taking the top fillet off, I always like to come down into the fillet a little bit more and try and take the fillet around from the edge of this body cavity. So basically I've not gutted the fish yet, and I try to avoid doing that as much as I can. Now when you do this, you do find that if when you take this piece off just here, that you'll have the roe just sitting inside there. Now you can eat this, but I don't like it, so I'm not going to today. And then just trying to not cut into the body cavity of the fish, just take that fillet off there as well. Now I'm going to flip the fish over and do the same to the other side, and then next I'm going to be skinning it. On this side I left my arm out of the way so you can see the line that I follow to take that top fillet off. And there you go, fillets are off the plaice, and it's just the body cavity with the guts just here which are intact. Now when it comes to skinning these guys, what I like to do is just rest my knife on the edge, cut into the fillet and take the skin off in one go. And if your knife's too sharp, this doesn't always work, but luckily I've not sharpened this knife today, so hopefully these fillets are going to come up quite nicely. Now you need to get all the skin flat on the table, just like this. Cut in and just pin that with your fingernail just here, and just slowly, take your time, start separating that fillet from the meat, from the skin. Now once you get enough to hold on to, especially with bigger fish, I can do this a lot quicker, but for now just got to be nice and gentle and take my time and get through the fillet just in one go, just like that. Now I've got the next 3 fillets off this fish to do, and then they'll go in the fridge overnight, and I'll be having these for my tea tomorrow evening.
We'll have some crinkle cut chips with it. We'll give these about 10 minutes on a lower heat in the oil whilst we're breading this plaice. For breading, we start off by dusting the plaice in some plain flour, just like so. And it's important to get a good covering all the way over the fish, as this gives the egg something to bind to. Now there's no seasoning in this flour, it's just flour on its own. Now we'll put it over into the egg, making sure that we get a good covering and all of the flour will have egg soaked up into it. And from there, over into the breadcrumb. Now when I put them in the breadcrumb, I lay them flat, and it's just like panning for gold. I just shake it around to make sure I get a nice, good, clean, even coverage over the whole lot. But every now and again you miss a bit with the egg, so what I do, like I do with this fillet here, is I just dip that little bit back in the egg and then stick it back on top of breadcrumb. If you like your breadcrumb thick, then it's easy. All you do is you dip the breadcrumb bit back into the egg and then go back to the breadcrumb, start panning for gold again, and get that nice even coverage, twice as thick. And there they are, ready for the fryer. Now the time it's taken me to do that, the chips have had long enough, about 10 minutes. So I'll take them out, let them cool just for a bit, turn the fryer up, dip the fish in there, all it together, and then once they're done and floating up on the top, then what I'll do is I'll stick the chips back in for a couple of seconds and crisp they up as well. A bit of salt, bit of vinegar, pint of lager, and that looks lovely. That's a proper meal after a good night's fishing, that.
Well, if you've enjoyed this episode of Life with Gaz and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button down here, and make sure you also check out some of my other videos, with the last video posted down here, and also my playlist for all my fishing videos posted here.